Hello everyone, how's it going today? My name is Ben,
I'm Luis.
and you're watching Ben and Luis Talks Comics. And this episode is brought to you by Limited Editions Comics and Collectibles. And our featured product for today is Dark Knight's Death Metal on a Highway to Hell. Get a look at that cover. So before we start playing Injustice, we're going to show y'all our favorite covers. So for me, it's going to be another plug, our 1 in 25 in center variant. Artist Doug Emenke, check that out. And what about you?
My choice this week is Dark Knight's Metal #2. This is the Jerome Opeña Lobo cover. This one, it's got some nice colors. I like this one. It's nice, it's simple. It's the white really stands out, you know?
Okay, cool. I mean, like, if it wasn't for Wonder Woman looking as awesome as she does on this cover, it would definitely be the original cover, only because it has the Batmobile Beast on the cover and it's looking like a beast. So, oh yeah. And the nice cheesy catchphrase right there. Right?
You really like that cheese from that last issue, huh?
I did. Oh, okay. Alright, let's get started.
Alright, well, I'm going Nightwing again, because that's the only guy I know how to play.
Cool.
So,
I think I'll go Wonder Woman again. Okay, so what did you think about this week's issue?
it's cheesy to start off with a quote, but
Okay.
Jonathan Hickman said that comics are a perpetual second act, so they never really finish, right? It's always lead up to the next thing,
Right.
to the next thing, because you can't have a true conclusion if there's a next Batman issue next week, right? This issue was definitely the beginning of the second act,
Mm-hmm.
where, I mean, to be polite, not a lot of stuff happened in this one.
Okay.
It was kind of more. The first one was the setup, and I guess you can argue that the inciting incident
Mm-hmm.
is, if it isn't whatever happened before Death Metal #1, it is Wonder Woman chainsawing the Batman Who Laughs.
Okay.
And this is just what comes after that.
Afterwards,
Yes.
after the catalyst. Okay.
Yeah. So I didn't find it quite as interesting because there wasn't as much stuff to chew on. It was more of a follow up from the previous issue.
Okay. I thought that it had a decent amount of dialogue, which was important to the story,
Mhm.
and us understanding why Batman is doing the things that he's doing
Mhm.
versus why Wonder Woman is doing the things that she's doing.
Mhm.
You know, I liked I liked the dialogue that came out of the Swamp Thing,
Mhm.
as well as Jonah Hex. When Wonder Woman, I don't know necessarily whether she was gonna have doubts about the path that she's choosing, like the best route to go about saving everybody.
Mhm.
You know, and how the Swamp Thing was basically saying that while he was a human, he wasn't able to talk to plants, but he enjoyed studying plants. And I think that what he said, that his favorite plants to study were the
Ferns.
prehistoric plants, like ferns, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And that there was this one prehistoric fern that it was so big that it allowed the smaller plants to grow.
Yeah.
And the smaller plants eventually choked out the giant fern. And even though the giant fern Extinct, it pretty much led the way for the atmosphere that we know now.
Yes.
You know, so it's right to think big because that will lead to maybe a greater good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
And that definitely is probably, I think, the most interesting element
Mhm.
of the story of this issue was talking about how they expanded on it a little bit on the first one, but this one is more of it continues it a little better. It talks about how Wonder Woman wants to save everything,
Right.
and Batman says, I already tried that, I just have to save what I can.
Right.
You know, which is very, for Bruce, it's very pragmatic, but the thing that he mentions for sure is that in Death Metal, right, he was like, okay, you know what, I think we can make, not only save the world, but make it better. And in the process, they broke the Source Wall, and they let Perpetua out, and because of Luthor, in Year of the Villain, and in Justice League, she became stronger, and now
Exactly.
because of that, they're here.
Exactly.
So instead of saying, you know what, I don't want to be a giant fern, I want to just save what I can,
Mm-hmm.
and Swamp Thing is saying, no, you should swing for the fences because it's better to try that and come out with the potential for better, you know, as
Right.
opposed to just stagnating or trying to save one Earth with the few survivors that they have. So Wonder Woman is clearly trying to find a better solution to fix everything than Bruce, who just wants to just hang on to the little things that are left.
One part of the story that I sort of had an issue with was how quickly Batman was convinced to change his mind.
Mhm.
Like that happened within one page.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could say that Snyder just wanted to have a little bit of conflict, and well, it's what, 7 issues, right?
Yeah. So it couldn't have been for too long.
So the important issue, I think, is number 1, obviously. 2 and 3, I imagine, are going to be kind of just set up,
Okay.
and then probably maybe 4 and 5 are when it's going to start ramping up, obviously leading to 6 and 7 being like the big conclusion. So they needed to have a little bit of conflict to pad out the pages, maybe, because the original Metal was 6.
Right.
Right? This one I think is more. And if it's more, then maybe they want to make sure that they expand on it. I'm sure with Superman coming in, Lobo being, I'm sure that's going to come in the later issues. But right now, with the limited cast of characters, I feel like they just needed something to help pad out the pages. And yeah, you're right. Like, it definitely felt like, oh, thanks, Swamp Thing, for the metaphor. I feel better about it now. Let's do what Wonder Woman says.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So what do you think about do you think that the little army that Batman is creating with the Black Ring, do you think that's going to come into play during the later issues? Of course it is.
For sure. There's some characters in there that would be nice to see around. I don't know. Seeing, I think they definitely want a big cast for the big fight scene at the end, and seeing the Justice Society still around was really nice. I was actually a little sad because I kind of wanted the original Dark Knights to
Right.
show up, and they kind of only were there for a little, oh, Batman made these, so they're not real, and that was a little disappointing because I kind of wanted them to be but they still might, like, for all I know, they'll bring them up,
No.
but on the side of good this time.
Okay, now I was going to touch on that as well. How powerful do you think those robots are? Because they're robots, right?
Yeah, he said he created them from Toymaster, I believe. So, yeah, I think, I don't know. I mean, obviously not as powerful as the original ones, but I'm sure they'll have their moment, in issue 6 or issue 7.
Interesting. Okay.
did you think about? What did you think about the end? The final stinger,
Oh,
the robot.
the robot.
So
I'm not a
just
fan. I'm not a fan.
a quick thing. The final thing at the end of the issue is that Swamp Thing and Wally, Wonder Woman, and Batman all go to the Toymaster's lair, I guess.
Mhm.
And the final thing of the issue is that they find a giant robot that's a mix of Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman.
Yeah.
And just visually, what did you think?
I thought it was disgusting. I didn't like it at all. It didn't look
Didn't
cool
like
at all.
it? Yeah, that was kind of a goofy design. I thought it was definitely, I don't know. Even art wise, honestly, I wasn't super impressed.
Like, I think that they were just. Well, did that robot make an appearance before?
I don't think so.
Okay,
As
so.
far as I know, this is the first appearance of it.
Okay, so if this was his first appearance, then they could have done better. You know, like.
Yeah.
If it was a previous creation by the Toy Master and it appeared in previous issues and it was meant to be hokey, I get it, right? But if this was the first appearance and this was supposed to be Dark Knight's death metal, then they should have just swung for the fences and made it look like so.
That was very much not metal, huh?
It was not
I think maybe. Yeah, it was not the best design. I don't know. Like I didn't, in terms of art, I really liked Greg Capullo on issue 1. And this one, I don't know. Maybe it's just because there wasn't any big action set pieces or anything, but it just wasn't as impressive. You already saw Batman in the trench coat. Wonder Woman still looks good, especially with the way he draws the hair. I'm not sure if she has
much better this
highlights,
issue.
but
Much better.
she looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, halfway through the issue, you go to where the Batman Who Laughs is getting transplanted, and you see him. They put his brain into
Mr. Manhattan, right?
Dr. Manhattan clone-esque body of some sort. I'm not sure what the setup for that is. I'm not sure if that's a Flash Forward thing or a Justice League thing, or a Doomsday Clock thing even. So between now and next issue, I'm gonna have to read maybe 50, 60 issues of continuity to catch up and see if that's set up. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what that's about. But that whole sequence was very strange looking, I guess. Just art-wise, it didn't super intrigue me.
That entire little scene, I had so many questions. So when he transformed into the blue Batman Who Laughs in order to show Perpetua something a little more familiar, right? Like, why was his suit the way it was? That wasn't the traditional Batman Who Laughs suit. That's number 1. Number 2, okay, so number 2, when he killed all of the extra Batmans, right? There were supposed to be 3 Robin Goblins.
Yes.
So did he kill the other 2?
I think in that, I don't think they weren't shown in the scene, right? I think it was just, they just weren't in the scene, and it was very much like, oh, we built these characters, let's show them as simultaneously being disposable, and also show the Batman Who Laughs' new power, you know? And I think, I mean, there's definitely bits of him being sneaky and hiding something from Perpetua. Maybe it's the fact that he's now a Dr. Manhattan-esque demigod of some sort. But
now, how do you think that they're going to beat him with those powers?
well, I mean, Wally West is also Dr. Manhattan, right? So
Correct.
clearly, you know, they wouldn't have shown him in these past 2 issues if they weren't planning on him being a big part of how it all ends.
Okay, here's another thing regarding that. Does Wally still have his feet?
I presume so, right?
Well, Okay, so here's the thing. The first flash asks how much of the Speed Force is left.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good point.
You know, because it's supposed to be chaos energy.
Yeah.
So he asks how much of the Speed Force is left, and the Flash says not much. So is Wally still using the Speed Force?
I don't
Or
know. I mean, they can always. It's comics, right? So they
Does it
can
come
always
with red color?
contrive. Yeah, they can always contrive another way of having him run fast. Like, oh, instead of using the Speed Force, now he's using the Manhattan Force or something.
Oh.
You know, so they can definitely just make something up. But I don't know. I think the bigger question for me is why Barry is running when no one else is. And before I saw the Dark Knights, the original ones, I presumed it was maybe the Red Death was chasing him, specifically him. That's what I kind of thought it was going to be, but then they showed him at the end, so it's clearly not that. But I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. They still definitely have a lot of cards to play, and I don't know.
Well, didn't the Batman Who Laughs get rid of all his little friends?
I wouldn't be surprised if now that he's what's he
sorry,
called now?
I'm sorry. Not the Batman Who Laughs. The Darkest Night.
The Darkest Knight. Yeah. What is he? He's the Darkest Knight now.
He's the Darkest Night.
Which is now they've mixed in
The
a
Blackest
third
Night.
thing. No, now he's Joker, Batman, and Dr. Manhattan all at once.
Oh yeah,
So,
that's right.
That's
That's right.
yeah. That's maybe too much crossover for me. Not quite at the level of tapping out, but definitely like, all right, Scott, you can relax a little bit.
Okay. Yeah.
But I don't know. I think obviously. I mean, we said at the last issue, he definitely wasn't dead, right?
Mhm.
But now they're kind of upping the stakes in terms of his power levels. So what they're gonna need to get themselves out of this one looks like it's gonna be even bigger than before. You know.
So another thing was that Batman's lair, his new lair was apparently Valhalla. So he has the Black Ring and has access to all these
All the heroes who died. Yeah.
dead heroes, right? So I think that he can do a lot with that,
Yeah. That'll.
depending on how potent their powers are in the afterlife.
I think the assumption is that they'll be as good as they were. You know, like even in mythology, right? Like Valhalla is where all of the Norse heroes go.
Mm-hmm.
So they all maintain their power level because it's like it's them at their best. They died in battle, so they're as good as they ever were in life. Now in death.
Let's all remember that. Okay. So hopefully that's what happens.
All right. So if they come back and they're completely nerfed, then I guess I was.
No, I'm not going
Or
to
what?
use it as a tick against you, but I'm just saying that you heard it here first.
Okay.
Okay, that if they come back and their optimum power levels,
Yeah.
then
We called it. Yeah.
there you go.
All right. There you go.
There you go. Let's see here. What do you think about the art?
Again, I didn't think it was as flashy as the first one.
I like
In
the
a-
art better than this one.
You liked it better?
I did.
I liked Wonder Woman better. Almost every other aspect of it I thought was very, I don't know. The color, I'm not sure. I don't think Greg Capullo does the colors as well.
Mm.
But the color for the Dr. Manhattan body is like a weird clay-looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
That I was just like, I don't know. It wasn't quite Dr. Manhattan blue, but it wasn't quite like just straight up gray. So I don't know. That specifically that I saw it and I wasn't very impressed. I did like the first page with the first page is probably actually my favorite page of the whole issue, where they talk about like the pragmatic way of looking at war as it's a blade of grass, right? And then you see the little lizard, and then it turns out the lizard is a costume by the
Batman.
Atom, but it's Batman. Yeah, Batum.
Battle.
And then he gets completely obliterated by the monster truck driven by Wonder Woman. I thought that was a very fun sequence, and I don't know. I really enjoyed that issue, that page rather.
Now, what's the name of the Sergeant guy again? It's like Sergeant Roy?
Oh, Sergeant Rock.
Rock, okay. So, at the end of the first issue, we see Batman saying it's time to go Rock, you know, like that's some stuff to do.
Yeah.
Where was he in this issue? And, like, you would think that he would be in Valhalla with Batman and Joanna Hex, you know?
I don't know. Maybe he's off recruiting someone. Maybe they just don't need him yet. You know, sometimes
He has no legs.
That's true. Maybe he's all right. Then maybe he just I don't know. They got him a baby booster seat in the Batmobile, and he's just chilling. You know. So I don't know. It
Do you know the story behind that? What's it called again? The monster truck.
They never really. It's one of those created specifically, as far as I know. He was created specifically for this book. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know. He could be a previous creation, but as far as I know, you know, like they've been putting in a lot of new Batmans,
Yeah.
and destroying a lot of new Batmans. So he could just be. I presume he was just one of those. You know, like B-Rex and Batman Beyond, but it's the opposite costume, Batmage and such.
Interesting. Okay, so if you had to give it a score, what would you give it?
I think I would give it a 6 out of 10.
A 6 out of 10.
Yeah, like it still wasn't average. It was still a little better than average, but
7's average. Like,
I think 5 is average.
yeah?
Yeah, I mean we're not in school anymore, right? Like
Okay.
7 is if you're looking at it like on a graph, right? 5 is the center. That's where most people would be. I think that's average. So I would say 7 is a little above average. 6 is a notch above average. It was a little better than average. There was things I liked about it. There was a lot of setup in this one. There wasn't too many new things introduced to keep me going, but I mean it is still necessary. It does still have nice art. There was that page with Batum that was really fun. So there's stuff to like about it. What do you think?
If we're gonna go by that scale, then I would have to give it a 6 as well. If we're gonna go by that scale, and the reason for that is, I think the art is better in this one actually, but it still doesn't please me. So, just based off of my opinion, I'm not really too impressed with the art. I did like the dialogue. I did like when they were talking about why did Batman choose the bat for his symbol.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, wasn't it because, you know, the bat, you know, the night strikes fear in the hearts of the superstitious criminals, right? But they were like, no, it's because the bat is the only mammal that can actually fly. First of all, I didn't even know that a bat was a mammal. Maybe I did when I was younger.
It's one of those fun facts that you forget about.
Yeah.
It's not something people think about, you know?
Yeah. But that, you know, Batman is about having people aspire to reach to greater heights when it's supposed to be impossible because mammals are supposed to not be able to fly.
Yeah.
You know?
That was a good line, yeah.
I like that a lot. I mean, it's no Captain America to Spider-Man speech in the Civil War. Like, that was awesome, but this isn't meant to be the Civil War.
Yeah.
like still give it a 6 out of 10.
Alright, yeah.
Well,
It wasn't super necessary, but then again, who remembers Civil War number 2, right?
no one remembers Civil War number 2.
Number 1, number 4, and number 7 are the important ones, you know?
Exactly.
And I guess 6. So
Exactly.
yeah,
So,
number 2, it's necessary. It's not super memorable.
no.
It's kind of just laying more ground.
There we go. There we go. So that's the end of our review today. Make sure to check out our review for the new Robin statue that we got in today.
Yes.
It's made by,
I don't know.
let's see here. Well, we got it right here actually. Oh.
From the Superpowers collection.
Yeah. Look at that. Want to bring it over here? Check it out.
We'll be unboxing this baby later today by Tweeterhead. That's the one.
Look at Robin, look like a grown man in a leotard.
Someone has to.
Someone has to do it. Okay. Y'all have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys.